Leo was an ordinary teenager living in a very ordinary town called Riverview. In Riverview, nothing ever happened. The most exciting event of the year was the annual Apple Festival. Leo spent most of his time helping his grandfather, Arthur, in his small antique shop. One Saturday afternoon, while the rain was hitting the windows, Arthur gave Leo a heavy iron key. "Leo," he said, his voice trembling a little, "go to the attic. There is a blue trunk under the old blankets. It's time you saw what's inside." Leo climbed the squeaky wooden stairs. The attic smelled like dust and old paper. He found the blue trunk, unlocked it, and saw something wrapped in a piece of ancient silk. It was a map, but it wasn't a normal map of the world. The continents were shaped differently, and the ink seemed to glow with a soft blue light. In the center of the map, there was a city called Ethelgard. According to the map, this city was located exactly where Riverview stood today, but in a different dimension. "Grandpa, what is this?" Leo asked, running back downstairs. Arthur sat down in his favorite leather chair. "That, Leo, is the map of lost cities. Our family has been the keepers of this map for centuries. These aren't just legends. These cities exist, but they are hidden by a thick veil of mist. Someone has stolen the compass of clouds, and without it, the cities will start to disappear from reality forever." Suddenly, the front door of the shop flew open. A man in a long gray coat entered. He had sharp eyes and carried a silver cane. "Give me the map, Arthur," the man demanded. "You are too old to protect it." Arthur pushed Leo toward the back door. "Run, Leo, go to the old bridge. Find the woman with the emerald ring. She will tell you what to do." The escape. Leo didn't think. He grabbed his backpack, stuffed the map inside, and ran into the rain. He could hear the man in the gray coat shouting behind him. Leo knew the shortcuts through the narrow alleys of Riverview. He jumped over fences and ran through backyards until he reached the old bridge. Standing in the middle of the bridge was a woman. She looked young, but her eyes seemed very old. On her right hand, a large emerald ring sparkled despite the dark sky. "You are late, Leo," she said calmly. "I am Clara. Your grandfather sent a message through the wind." "The man in the shop. He wanted the map," Leo said, catching his breath. "That was Silas. He wants to use the map to find the city of gold and sell its secrets. We cannot let that happen. If Silas controls the map, he controls the history of the world." Suddenly, Clara took a small wooden whistle from her pocket and blew into it. It didn't make a sound, but a few seconds later, a giant owl with feathers the color of the moon landed on the bridge. "This is Luna," Clara said, helping Leo onto the owl's back. "She will take us to the first location on the map, the Whispering Jungle. We need to find the first piece of the compass of clouds before Silas catches us." Leo looked down as Riverview became smaller and smaller. He was just a boy from a small town, but now he was flying on a giant owl to save a world he didn't even know existed. Part 1, The Whispering Jungle, Section 1.2. After flying for hours, the air began to feel warm and humid. Below them, a massive jungle appeared. The trees were so green they looked almost fake. But the strangest thing was the sound. It wasn't the sound of birds or monkeys. It was the sound of thousands of voices whispering at the same time. Luna landed in a small clearing. As soon as Leo stepped off, he felt the ground vibrate. "The trees are talking," Leo whispered, feeling a bit scared. "They are sharing memories. The Whispering Jungle is the library of nature. Everything that has ever happened in the world is recorded in these leaves. We need to find the Tree of Truth. The first piece of the compass is hidden in its roots." They walked for miles. Leo had to use a small knife to cut through the thick vines. Along the way, he saw flowers that changed color when he touched them, and butterflies that glowed like neon lights. Suddenly, they reached a giant tree with silver bark and golden leaves. This was the Tree of Truth, but sitting at the base of the tree was a giant stone statue of a lion. To pass, the statue said, its voice sounding like falling rocks, you must answer a riddle. If you fail, you will stay here and become a tree yourself. Leo stepped forward. He remembered the stories his grandfather used to tell him. Ask your question, Leo said bravely. The stone lion opened its mouth. I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water but no fish. What am I? Leo thought for a moment. He looked at his backpack. He smiled. You are a map, he answered. The lion groaned and slowly moved to the side, revealing a golden box hidden among the roots. Inside the box was a silver needle, the first piece of the compass of clouds. 1 down, 2 to go, Clara said. But as she spoke, a dark shadow covered the sun. Silas had arrived, and he wasn't alone. He had brought a fleet of flying ships. The sky above the whispering jungle was no longer blue. It was filled with the dark, metallic shapes of Silas's flying ships. Smoke came out of their engines, and the sound of their propellers drowned out the whispers of the trees. We have to go, now, Clara shouted. She grabbed Leo's arm and pulled him toward Luna, the giant moon owl. Silas stood on the deck of the largest ship, looking down through a telescope. Capture the boy, he commanded. The silver needle is mine. Luna took off with a powerful beat of her wings. Arrows made of dark energy whistled past Leo's ears. He gripped the owl's feathers tightly, feeling the wind cold against his face. They flew higher and higher, passing through the thick clouds. As they broke through the cloud layer, Leo gasped. They weren't just in the sky anymore. They were in a place where gravity seemed to work differently. Dozens of small islands were floating in the air, connected by long, glowing rope bridges. This was the Kingdom of Azure. Silas can't follow us here easily, Clara said, checking the map. His heavy ships are too big for these narrow air currents, but we are not safe yet. The second piece of the compass, the crystal lens, is kept in the Mirror Palace at the highest point of Azure, the village in the sky. They landed on a small island that looked like a peaceful village. The houses were made of light balsa wood and had large silk sails on their roofs to catch the wind. The people of Azure, the Skywalkers, wore clothes made of bird feathers and moved with incredible balance. An old man with a long white beard approached them. Clara, it has been a long time, he said. Who is the boy? This is Leo, the grandson of Arthur. He is the new keeper of the map. We need the crystal lens, Elder Mako. Silas is behind us. Elder Mako looked worried. The lens is in the Mirror Palace, but the palace is guarded by the wind wraiths. They are spirits made of air and memory. Only someone with a pure heart can walk through the Hall of Mirrors without getting lost in their own reflections. Leo looked at the palace in the distance. It was a beautiful building made entirely of glass and silver, sitting on the tip of a very thin floating rock. I have to do it, Leo said. My grandfather trusted me with this. The Mirror Palace. To reach the palace, Leo had to walk across a bridge made of frozen light. Every time he took a step, the bridge made a sound like a piano key. Underneath him, there was nothing but thousands of feet of empty blue sky. When he entered the palace, he was blinded by the light. There were mirrors everywhere, on the floor, on the ceiling, and on every wall. Leo, a voice called out. It sounded like her mother. He turned and saw her in a mirror. She was in their kitchen at home, baking cookies. Stay here, Leo. It's safe. Why are you running? Why are you in danger? Come back home to Riverview. Leo felt a strong desire to touch the glass. He missed his home. He missed the smell of the Apple Festival. But then he remembered Silas's cold eyes and the disappearing cities. You aren't real, Leo said to the mirror. You are just a reflection of my fear. The mirror cracked and vanished. Leo kept walking. He saw reflections of himself as a rich man, as a king, and as a failure. Each time he spoke the truth, and the mirrors disappeared. Finally, he reached the center of the palace. Sitting on a marble pedestal was a lens made of a diamond-like crystal. When Leo looked through it, he didn't see the room. He saw the hidden paths of the wind. He saw the veil of mist that hid the lost cities. The attack on Azor. Just as Leo grabbed the crystal lens, a loud explosion shook the palace. One of Silas's smaller, faster scout ships had found a way through the air currents. It crashed into the side of the palace, and Silas's soldiers, wearing black armor, jumped out. "Give it to me, boy," the leader of the soldiers shouted, pointing a mechanical spear at Leo. Leo looked around. There was no way out. The bridge of light was breaking behind him. He looked at the crystal lens in his hand, and then at the open sky. "Luna, now!" Leo screamed. He didn't wait. He jumped off the edge of the floating talus. For a few terrifying seconds, he was falling through the clouds. Then a soft, feathered back caught him. Luna had dived from the sky to save him. Clara was already there, holding her emerald ring toward the soldiers. A bright green light pushed the soldiers back, giving Luna time to fly away. "We have the needle and the lens," Clara said, as they flew toward the horizon. "Now we only need the sunstone to complete the compass, but it is hidden in the most dangerous place of all, the sunken library of Atlantis." Luna, the moon owl, flew over the endless blue ocean. The air was getting colder, and the waves below were massive. Leo looked at the two pieces of the compass in his bag. The silver needle and the crystal lens were vibrating together. They knew they were getting closer to the third piece. "How are we going to breathe under the water?" Leo asked, looking worriedly at the dark sea. Clara smiled and touched her emerald ring. "The ring is not just for light, Leo. It can create an air bubble. But Atlantis is not just underwater. It is hidden in a pocket of air at the bottom of the ocean. It is protected by ancient magic." Suddenly, the ocean began to swirl. A giant whirlpool appeared in the middle of the water. Luna dove straight into the center of the whirlpool. Leo closed his eyes and held his breath, expecting to hit the water, but he felt nothing but a warm breeze. When he opened his eyes, he saw a city made of blue coral and shining pearls. A giant glass dome covered the entire city, keeping the water out. Schools of colorful fish swam outside the glass, looking in at the streets. This was Atlantis. The Guardian of Knowledge. They landed in front of a building that looked like a giant seashell. This was the sunken library. Unlike the library in Leo's school, the books here were made of thin sheets of gold and silver. As they entered, they met the librarian. He was a man with blue skin and webbed hands. He was riding a small, friendly seahorse. "I am Nereus," he said. "You are seeking the sunstone, the heart of the compass." "Yes," Leo said. "Silas is trying to destroy the lost cities. We need to complete the compass to protect the veil of mist." Nereus looked sad. "The sunstone is in the deepest vault of the library, but there is a problem. The vault is guarded by a mechanical kraken. It was built thousands of years ago to protect the library, but now it is broken. It attacks everyone who enters." The Vault of Shadows. Leo and Clara walked down a long spiral staircase into the darkness. The only light came from Clara's emerald ring. At the bottom, they saw a massive metal door. Behind the door, they could hear the sound of grinding gears and clanking chains. When the door opened, the mechanical kraken rose from the shadows. It was a terrifying machine made of rusted iron and glowing red eyes. Its tentacles were like giant whips. "I'll distract it!" Clara shouted. She fired a beam of green energy at the kraken. The machine roared and turned its attention toward her. Leo saw the Sunstone. It was a bright orange gem sitting on a pedestal in the center of the room. He had to be fast. He ran across the room, jumping over the Kraken's heavy metal tentacles. One tentacle almost hit him, but he rolled away just in time. He reached the pedestal and grabbed the Sunstone. It was warm, like a stone that had been sitting in the summer sun. As soon as he touched it, the 3 pieces in his bag, the needle, the lens, and the stone, flew out of his hands. The compass of clouds. The 3 pieces began to spin in the air. The needle snapped into the center of the lens, and the sunstone became the glowing base. The compass of clouds was finally complete. The Kraken suddenly stopped attacking. The red light in its eyes turned to a soft blue. The machine bowed its head and moved back into the shadows. The compass had the power to control the machines of the ancient world. "We did it!" Leo cheered, but their celebration was short. A loud boom shook the library. The glass dome above Atlantis began to crack. Silas's ships had followed them, and they were using deep-sea bombs to break into the city. "Leo, give me the compass and the map now!" a voice shouted from the entrance. It was Silas. He was wearing a diving suit and holding a harpoon gun. "The water is coming, boy. If you want to live, give me the map and the compass now." The water began to leak through the ceiling. The beautiful library was starting to flood. Leo looked at the compass, then at Silas, and then at the exit. He had a choice: save himself or save the history of the world. The sound of the cracking glass was like 1,000 windows breaking at the same time. Water was pouring into the sunken library of Atlantis in thick, heavy columns. The beautiful golden books were floating in the rising water, and Nereus the librarian was trying to save whatever he could. "The dome is collapsing!" Clara screamed over the roar of the ocean. Silas didn't care about the water. He stepped forward, his harpoon gun pointed directly at Leo's chest. "The compass, Leo. Throw it to me now, or we all drown here." Leo looked at the compass of clouds in his hands. It was glowing with a brilliant golden light. He looked through the crystal lens and saw something Silas couldn't see. He saw a hidden exit behind the Kraken, a secret tunnel that led to the surface. "I won't let you destroy the cities, Silas," Leo shouted. Leo didn't throw the compass. Instead, he pointed the sunstone toward the mechanical Kraken. "Protect us," he commanded. The Kraken, now under the control of the compass, swung its massive iron tentacles. It didn't attack Silas. Instead, it grabbed a huge stone pillar and placed it under the crack in the ceiling. This slowed down the flood. Then another tentacle grabbed Silas and tossed him into a pile of empty crates. "Follow me," Leo cried, grabbing Clara's hand. They ran past the Kraken and into the dark tunnel just as the library began to fill completely with water. The flight to Ethelgard. The tunnel was a long vertical tube that used air pressure to push them upward. In seconds, they popped out of the ocean like corks. Luna was waiting for them on a small rock. "Where to now?" Clara asked, coughing out seawater. Leo opened the map of lost cities. The blue light was now a bright red. "Silas's ships are moving toward the center. They are going to Ethelgard, the capital city. If they find the heart of the mist, they can make every lost city visible to the modern world. They will turn them into theme parks and mines." "We have to get there first," Clara said. They flew on Luna for hours, pushing the owl to her limits. As they approached the location of Ethelgard, the air turned white. A wall of thick, magical mist blocked their path. This was the Veil. Inside the mist, Leo could see the shadows of Silas's fleet. They were using giant fans to blow the mist away. The secret world was being exposed. Inside the Golden City. They flew through the mist and saw Ethelgard. It was more beautiful than anything Leo had imagined. The towers were made of white marble and gold. Floating gardens hung between the buildings, and the streets were paved with silver. But the city was silent. The people were hiding in their homes. Silas's ships were landing in the central square right in front of the Great Clock of Ages. That's the heart of the mist, Clara pointed. The compass must be placed in the clock to strengthen the veil. They landed Luna on a small rock and ran toward the square. Silas was already there. He had escaped Atlantis and looked furious. His coat was torn and his eyes were red with anger. "Enough gains," Silas yelled. He pulled out a remote control. "I have placed explosives on the clock. If you don't give me the compass, I will blow up the heart and this city will fall into the sea." Leo looked at the compass of clouds in his hands. It was glowing with a brilliant golden light. He looked through the crystal lens and saw something Silas couldn't see. He saw a hidden exit behind the Kraken, a secret tunnel that led to the surface. "You're a coward, Silas," Leo said, his voice steady. "You want to own history because you can't make your own." Leo started walking toward Silas, but he wasn't looking at the man. He was looking at the gears of the great clock. He realized that the compass wasn't just a key, it was a stabilizer. "Clara, distract the guards," Leo whispered. Clara used her emerald ring to create a massive flash of light. While the soldiers were blinded, Leo dived toward the base of the clock. He saw the slot for the sunstone. Silas pressed the button on his remote. Beep, beep, beep. The explosion began to tick. Leo had only 5 seconds. 5. He reached the slot. 4. He pushed the compass in. 3. The gears began to turn. 2. A golden shield of energy erupted from the clock. 1. The explosion happened, but the golden shield contained it. The clock didn't break. Instead, it sent out a massive wave of white energy. The result of the wave. The energy wave hit Silas and his soldiers. It didn't hurt them, but it transported them. In a flash of light, Silas and his entire fleet were gone. They weren't dead, they were simply sent back to Riverview with no memory of the map or the lost cities. The mist around Ethelbard became thicker and stronger than ever before. The city was safe.